For the past several weeks, we've been doing a ton of move out, Prairie and I, both in hand and in under saddle. And I'm hoping that he has that epiphany where he suddenly realizes it feels good to move like this, with my head down and stepping under and stretching over my top line. But I'm getting frustrated because Prairie is not having that epiphany. He's really not even present. I'm talking to him and he is somewhere else. He just gets through each session the best he can so he can go to the pasture. But during each training session, his thoughts are someplace else. He's not focused on me. He doesn't care. There's some element of the exercise reward cycle that I'm missing, and I am not getting through to him. We've done so much of this circle that I am completely sick of it. And he's just not, he doesn't do anything different from day to day. It seems like I'm teaching the same lessons each day, and each day he'll have some progress. But when we come back the next day, it's gone again. And we're back to square one. And I'm teaching him the same things, and he'll make progress and he'll do it, but then the next day it's gone. I don't know how to get through to this horse. But I recall last summer, I was also frustrated with Samba, that she wasn't getting it either. So I went back to my journal. I keep a journal to read about what I was doing with her right before she had her epiphany. And it turns out I was doing round penning with her to make sure that she was completely obedient and compliant, that she accepted me as the leader. So I'm trying some of this with Prairie now. I'm going back to absolute basics. I'm going to teach him flexions and all of that all over again. And make sure that this time he is paying attention to me. So here I'm just moving him around in the round pen, asking him to walk, trot, and yes, canter. Here he goes.
Good boy.
Pretty easily. I asked him from a walk, and he took a few steps of trot first. But he was very relaxed, not worried about it at all, unlike Samba. So here you're going to see what he does when I ask him to lower his head. He sticks out those ugly brown teeth. He's got the ugliest teeth I've ever seen, by the way. And he pokes his nose out. He does not lower his head. That's like the most basic thing. There, he lowered his head. Gave him a pat on his chest, and I'm stepping back. And I'm hoping that I start to get through to him a little bit. He's noticed that I'm there now. He's kind of checking me out. No, put your nose over there, dear. And we just do the most basic kind of stuff here. But I felt like it was a positive thing. I didn't even ride him today. But I felt like it was a step forward because he was listening to me. I asked him to lower his head, and he did. He didn't just stick his nose out. This is all the kind of stuff that I started doing with Samba last summer when I was so frustrated with her. Felt like I wasn't making any progress, like I was stuck. And suddenly one day, I recall, in September, Samba had this epiphany. One day she just started reaching into the contact and stretching over her back, inconsistently at first, but gradually more and more. And I wrote to you and I said, "What is this? I don't know what she's doing, but I know it's something good." I realize I've been skipping over a lot of stuff with Prairie. The more I expect from him, the farther and farther the dots have been getting apart. And he has started to just check out and not even try because it's all beyond him. But I'm getting some good results here. I'm rewarding him clearly and letting him know, and he's actually focusing in on me. Look at this. Instead of staring at something outside the arena, which is normally what he does when I give him a break, he's focusing on me. Now I feel like we can make some progress with this kind of attitude. So my objective for the next several days, or however long it takes, is that I'm going to try to maintain his attention. And I'm going to put the dots closer together for him so he can make some sense of what I've been trying to teach him. To be honest, I got tired of doing flexions every day and I stopped doing them. And I gradually kind of sloughed off all the basics. I wanted to get to the good stuff, and I was missing all the preparatory stuff before the good stuff is supposed to start. I love how sweet he is, though. Look at that. I'm still having to ask a little bit strongly for him to lower his head, but he does, and I reward that. Now my goal is for him to just drop his head anytime I reach for the reins. Typically, what he does now is he will just stick that nose out and those brown teeth and chomp on the bit and kind of laugh at me. And I guess I've taught him to do that with what I've done and what I've neglected to do. We're still going to work on this circle. We're still going to do lots of move out. And maybe I can get him to just one day he'll get it. I like the thoughtful way he's doing this move out here. I always have to watch closely and make sure that he's doing a real move out and not a fake move out. I've totally confused him about that, so I have to unscrew this. Now coming up here is a simply amazing turn in. He doesn't move his hind feet at all. He takes like 3 or 4 steps. I had to ask Dave, did you see that?
That was good. Yeah, you know it.
Prairie seemed very proud of himself in that moment. But I think it's going to be important to get him to comply when I ask him to lower his head, because I've been asking and he hasn't been doing it, and I've just been letting it slide.
Yes, that was it.
Now that was nice. So here I ask him with very light aids to lower his head. And he does. And we'll just build on that with increasing periods of staying soft.
That was very nice.